Welcome back, everyone. Prosper Thursday, isn't it? Thriving Thursday day today. So we're going to look at finding your why. Look, some people have said this is a bit of a tired subject, you know. A lot of people know, you know, these days, what's your why that sits behind your business? What's your driver? Why are you doing what you're doing? Because you have to have the passion. Now, this actually all started for me quite some time ago. When in one of my businesses, I used to interview really successful people. That was part of what I was doing as part of my offering to my client base. And one of the wonderful people that I was very, very blessed, I got to actually interview was SINEK. So SINEK, finding your why. He is the why man. He is the one who really sort of shone the light on this topic. And I remember this was quite some years ago, and it was quite interesting because I sent out a thing saying, an invite saying, I'd like to interview you. I didn't think he'd actually say yes. I mean, little old me sitting over in New Zealand, and I was like, well, would he really? Anyway, he was very kindly, you know, good and said, yes, absolutely, no problem. Now, he's sitting in New York, and funny story, I just have to share it with you. What he ended up doing was he got his PA to contact me to say, look, is there any chance that we can reschedule, because I'm actually speaking at the White House on the day that I had already committed to talk to you. And I was like, oh, well, you know, maybe. So I was so blessed. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that he's like at that level. I didn't know he was that big at the time, you see. So he was really making a name for himself, and he was such an interesting guy to talk to, honestly. And he's got amazing videos. You want to probably go and check it out. There's TED Talks on him. He's got his own website. I think it's just SINEK, SINEK. I don't have any affiliation or anything with him. I just think he's a great guy, and that he's come up with some really amazing content. And the big thing for him that he came up with was that you have to be passionate about what it is that you actually are doing. If you don't have your why nutted out at the beginning, the bottom line is when the going gets tough, and I can tell you now, if you haven't done the entrepreneurial route before, entrepreneurism is not for sissies, because it is roller coaster. It really, you know, you have some serious highs and you have some serious lows. You get challenges thrown at you that you just never thought that you would ever have to deal with. One of my challenges that I had, I can be quite honest with you, was when I left corporate. I was so used to having everybody doing stuff for me. And the biggest shock for me was I'm now everybody. Like, you know, in a small business, especially if you're a mumpreneur, you are everything. Not only are you everything in your own business as a mumpreneur quite often, but you're also you know, mum full time. So you've got two massive commitments, and somehow you've got to balance it all in order to make it work. And this is the thing, if you don't have your why cracked, if it's not your real passion, when the going gets tough, the tough will get going. You will just bottle. If it's not the first hurdle, it's just a matter of which hurdle you're gonna fall over on. And I can absolutely guarantee it. I've seen it time and time again. And it's because at the end of the day, they were doing it because they thought it was easy, or that they thought it was convenient, or because somebody else had done something, you know, and they looked like they'd been successful. They were directionless. They didn't know what particular goal they actually wanted. They weren't clear on what it is they wanted for themselves. They just wanted to earn a sideline while they're being a mum. I've had all sorts of different things, you know, or they bought something because it was cheap, quick and easy off the shelf, and of course, you know, it didn't deliver on all the promises. There's certain presuppositions that just because you've got a business, suddenly all the people will come, and it is not like that at all. You have to go hell for leather. You are everything to everybody at all times, just like you are a mum to your kids, being there 24/7. This is like another child. It becomes like another, and anyone who can, you know, who's on board with me with this, give me a thumbs up, hit that like button underneath, will you? Because I tell you what, you know, when you take so much ownership on something that you love so much, if you've got the love factor, then you've got the sustainability to push you through those times where you really want to just actually walk away. And even when I've been truly passionate about certain things, I've gone, man, I've taken a hit today, you know, and it's just like, I'm just, you know, had one not so long ago, actually, just a few days ago. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Really? Like, you know, it's the last thing you need. It's the last thing you need, you know? But it's like, well, okay, you know, you fork in the road, choose which road are you going to take? Are you going to stay on it? Are you going to bottle? And of course, you see, like, it's in line with everything that if it's in line with your passion, if it's in line with your why, then you're going to get up and you're going to find a way through that, aren't you? Whereas you don't do that if you don't have your why cracked. You just simply don't. So the finding the why is so key. So half the people that, you know, come to me for coaching, I do actually say, look, you know, why are you doing this? Like, what is your purpose for doing this? And if they say money, then I pretty much know that if that's the main driver, it's probably not going to go the distance, if I'm honest, you know. I've got a few people, you know, even friends who are like, oh yeah, we want to just do the sideline hustle and I kind of like it and, you know, it'll do. And I was like, man, you're gonna, you know, and it's just a recipe for disaster. So it's better to, you know, I think, to get clear on what your why is. Find out who you are. This is why I love my VICKI JANE stuff so much, because that is, you know, as much as I go on about the shoe closet and decluttering your psychological shoe closet, the VICKIJANE, you know, .com and the VICKI JANE YouTube channel is all about getting clear about who you are. When you get real clear about who you are, you can then go, yes, that is me. No, that's not. So when an opportunity comes across the path, you know, and it's not your why, it's not in line with who you are, you'll just go, well, that's just not me. Like for me, like if I'll give you an extreme example. If someone said to me, right, you can do, you know, I don't know, a tattoo and ear piercing business and you can have it tomorrow for an absolute bargain. That's just not my bag. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not for me. It's not my thing. It's not what I'm aligned to. It doesn't fit with the direction that I want to go in. So it becomes really crystal clear. You get black and white. There's no more gray area. And when you get on even further than that, when you start going, but what's really driving me to do what I want to do? So I was having this discussion with some friends the other day, and it was like that, you know, some of them were talking about, oh, you know, if you won millions of dollars, what would you do with it? So, you know, everybody's got their dream bags out and their bucket lists out, and, you know, this is what I do, and this is the mansion I'd live in, and this is the travel that I would do, and all this sort of stuff. And they said, yeah, what? And then we could give out our work. And I was like, yeah, there is certain aspects of my work I certainly would. And they said, well, you know, what do you mean, Vicky? And I said, well, I give up my marketing stuff, you know, quite comfortably. You know, I love it. It's very interesting, but it's probably that I could retire from. But I don't think I can retire from my VICKI JANE stuff, because that's who I am. I am VICKI JANE, and I am on this planet to hopefully make a difference in as many people's lives as possible, you know. And you don't retire from that. That's not something that you give up on. That's my why. That's why I get out of bed. So that's why when I had my tough days, you know, a few days ago, I was like, geez, that was a hit, man. Didn't see that coming. Came, blindsided me. And I was down and I was feeling all sorry for myself. And I was like, oh, you know, this sucks, you know, and what do I do now? And I have to take some diversions, and, you know, I mean, I don't want to bore you with all the details and stuff, but it was, you know, it was unpleasant and it was unexpected. So, you know, you kind of go, well, okay, do I just walk away from this? It's like, no, you know, because that's who I am. I actually have to find a way through. I just have to find a way through. So I'm doing that. You know, I have to take a detour. Sometimes you have to do that. It's like that whole riding the waves. You know, I actually, if I got knocked up against the rock, which is what happened, I didn't see that wave coming. It took me out. It hit me up against the rock. It's winded me. You float on the water for a while, you find another rock, you climb out, and you know, you walk around the big wave, you know, so you're taking a detour. That's the route I've decided to take, you know. So it's one of those, It's not great. It's not what I wanted, but it is what it is. And the why got me out of the bed and got me going, right, I've just got to find a way. I've got to make a plan. It's not ideal. It is what it is, but that's what it is. So you've got to get clear. Now, at some stage, once I've done my prospermums club setup, part of the membership, you're going to get a course that I will take you through a fantastic What's My Why course. Part of the course is you find out what your why is, okay? So there's specific exercises that I do with you that helps you to clarify what's your direction. You know, some people have got a sort of vague idea and they're kind of fumbling around, but they're not really sure. You start getting more crystal clear on that. You start getting, you know, more finite on what that is. And then it's like, but why is that important? And so I've got an exercise that's really, really good called Finding Your Why. And it elicits that specific driver that sits within you that, you know, this is what I'm on this planet to actually do, you know, this is why I'm here. So it's a lot more sort of a deep spiritual kind of driver almost, you know. I look at it like that. Some people don't. It's just like, you know, that's what I just love to do. And that's fine too. That's fine. Whatever floats your boat, you know, it's always your path, you know, your shoes, your path, your way. So, you know, and that's what I promote. So, thinking about what the why is so key. Go and have a listen to Simon's stuff. He's really great. I would happily endorse him. You know, I'd love it if he endorsed me, but I don't even know if he remembers me. It was a few years ago that I interviewed him. But honestly, get on top of that before you start any business is probably one of my biggest tips I would give any future business owner ever. Is like, don't even think about getting off the bat spending 1 cent until you know what it is you want to do and why you want to do it. Two very, very crucial things. Okay, so it's the what you want to do and why you want to do it. Okay, and have it where it's aligned. It's aligned to who you are and what your path is, so that when, you know, tornadoes come and blindsiders come, you know, and it can be the roller coaster ride for whatever reason, and you're like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna have to find a way. What keeps coming up for me is in the tarot, it's the man that's upside down. And it's like looking at things from a different perspective. You know, you've got to think outside the square. You have to have those flexibility shoes on that I talk about in my VICKI JANE channel. You know, you've got to move and shift and shape shift around it, because those who are most successful are the ones who are going to be most flexible. So the more flexible you are, the more likely you are to determine your outcome. And that's an NLP sort of primary pillar that we teach in coaching. So anyway, I hope you found that useful. Let me know what your why is. You may not know right now, but, you know, start thinking about it, start getting clear, and all of this will help. All these little steps will help you to be the best version of yourself and as successful as you possibly can be. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. And if you ever want to join us in the VICKI JANE group, if you're not part of it already, feel free to come over. I mean, it's free. It doesn't cost anything, right? And it's a whole bunch of like-minded women just like you. So I look forward to meeting you on the other side there as well. Okay, thank you, everyone. Namaste.